I'm a professional engineer. I've worked with Troy Williams off and on for 20 years. And as a professional engineer, I have a lot of obligations. I'm supposed to review any conflicts of interest that I have. So let me run through them real quickly. I made enough money to buy a car when I was young by driving a water truck to rural areas and baling hay on a farm. So I have a farm connection. Got two engineering degrees from UC. My master's was in spray irrigation of sanitary landfill leachate, and that was all funded by the US EPA. My first job was the Ohio EPA for 4.5 years. And then I went across the street to the world headquarters of MEAD, MEAD, the Trapper Keeper Notebook people, where I was a corporate staff guy for 15 years. After that, 8 years in consulting with 3 or 4 different firms. So I was an environmental consultant. And then I landed a corporate job with Dayton Power and Light. I was a subject matter expert for air pollution control and compliance in air pollution control, and that's how I advised Troy Williams and Jim Stice and anybody else that had air issues. Um, so, and right now I'm retired, mostly retired. 1/3 of my wealth came from that farm where I baled hay when Grandma passed away and sold it for a 140 home subdivision. So, farmers get a chunk of money for that, just like if they sell to a data center. So that's my conflicts of interest. They're not very bad. I'm about as neutral as anybody you're going to run into. And do y'all have any questions for me on that? I did some more research today. I've got 50 years of environment and energy experience. I was a corporate purchasing manager for 5 years, got negotiating experience, and did some additional research today on top of all that. And I asked please forgive me. I asked the co-pilot, when if you're trying to stop a project, or if you're trying to prove a project, what should you do? And I got 4 points for stop and 4 points for improve. And then I got below that, I got a whole bunch of information. But it said if you're what has been shown to be effective for stopping a project is to force a zoning change or special use review. Number 2, organize a broad coalition early. Number 3, expose secrecy around incentives and environmental impacts. Number 4, demand independent studies. Part 2 of that is what's most effective for improving a project. And according to things around the country, most effective for improving a project, not stopping it, but improving it, negotiate a community benefit agreement, push for zoning overlays with strict conditions, tie incentives and tax incentives to measurable community benefits, and secure environmental protections and noise water limits. Now, I know most of you know most all this stuff, and you've been doing a lot of this stuff. Hopefully I can give you an idea or two that you can work more on, but there's not that much new under the sun. And for each of those things I just told you, I've got an array of additional details. But back to you guys, because this is a discussion, I think.
Want to hear what you have to say, what advice you would give if you were in our situation. All the information I sent you, and also I want to repeat that last Friday when they met the fiscal court, 3 of the 4 members on the fiscal court voted in favor of the zoning change and had nothing in writing. We have no commitments, no community benefit agreement, none of that's in writing. The only thing they have is a promise and a song from the lawyer that they're paying to represent them, to work out the negotiations.
So it occurs to me that, they could have made a zoning change 5 years ago or 2 years ago without even knowing who's coming. So that part maybe not horrible. That's like step one, could have happened a long time ago. That doesn't preclude these other commitments as they continue to move forward. And I think your group has mixed ideas about renewable, but I'm in the environmental field, and your environmental friends and environmental people um, like renewable power. So I asked Copilot as a follow-up to the other stuff. I said, you know, what about renewable power? Should folks push for that? And and um, and it said, yes, neighbors should insist on substantial renewable electricity commitments, but only if they understand how to make that demand enforceable and valuable. Renewable energy requirements are one of the strongest leverage points, communities have with data centers because electricity is their single largest operating cost and their biggest environmental impact. Here's the practical, non-ideological breakdown of why this works and how to do it effectively. And they've got, I have 3 points here with some subpoints. And number one, data centers consume enormous power. You already know that a single hyperscale data center can use 200 to 500 megawatts, roughly the load of a small city. That means potentially higher local electricity prices, new transmission lines, more diesel backup generators, more air emissions if the grid is fossil heavy. Number two, developers need renewable energy to meet their corporate climate pledges. Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, all have public commitments to 100% renewable energy. This gives communities leverage. They already want renewables, but they might not build them unless pushed. And number three, renewables can offset community impacts. If a data center is going to strain the grid, the least it can do is bring new, clean generation that benefits the region. And then this volunteered what neighbors can realistically demand. These are the tools that have worked in other counties, and there's about 4 of them. The short version is a binding renewable energy requirement. Number 2, local or regional renewable projects. Number 3, funding for grid upgrades. Number 4, limits on the diesel generator use. And number 5, annual public reporting. Now, all those are sort of burdens on the developer, might not like it, might decide they want to go someplace else.
With Troy, for some reason, he keeps trying to get in the lobby. I keep admitting him. One of our biggest problems, though, is that we don't have a voice. If I could stand here with the duct tape across my mouth, that's about how our whole community feels. We have asked for these things. We have stood in hearings and asked for these things. We have sent them documents asking for several of the things you've mentioned, but they don't pay attention to us. So what environmentally we need to watch out for, and you need to force upon them? What can the EPA do for us, I guess?
Well, I think if they don't do logical things and they don't do the right kind of public outreach, then it bolsters your litigation case. And it's my understanding you have an attorney who would object to this project eventually. And the more things they don't do right, the more likely there's going to be a stay on this project, I think. And of course, your attorney would know better than me.
I keep admitting, Troy, I'm doing it again.
Ultimately, the things you're requesting and demanding, that word will flow beyond the commissioners to the debt to whoever's gonna be operating this thing. So the idea, this point about binding renewable energy requirement, it said, you know, developers need renewable energy to meet their corporate climate pledges. So eventually, although folks aren't listening to you right now, the commissioners, eventually, I have a feeling that Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Meta will have to listen to you a little bit. And if you choose to demand 100% renewable energy, and they already want renewables and have promised to their stockholders renewables, that's something they might have to do. And maybe they don't want to do it in Kentucky. And then as far as the air permit of all those diesels, I don't think the Kentucky Air Agency does non-disclosure agreements. Now, you can go to the agency and say, I have some proprietary information and don't release it to the public. That's a little bit of a hard hurdle. And if they were to say, you can't tell the public about any of our emission sources, well, I don't think that's going to fly. So they're not going to be able to get an air permit from Kentucky without saying exactly how many generators that they're going to have and how they're going to run them and what they're going to do in an emergency and what type of controls they have on them. And when folks ask for public meetings from the Kentucky Department of Environmental, they're probably going to get public meetings, and that becomes another chance to ask questions.
So is that responsibility on us to request a meeting with the permitting agency, or?
Yeah, I think so. I
Work?
think you with whoever has relationships with the K, I think it's KDEP, it might be KDEQ. You all know better than me. But I think you'd have a good chance of meeting with some of those people because they have some talented people who I think do right by the public. And that air permit, you know, I'd be surprised if they've applied already, but you know, they might apply next month, and you probably could meet with that agency 1, 2, 3 times as it goes through the process.
Is it wrong to try to get a meeting with them next week or so ahead of this for advice? Because
I
mean,
I think you should get on their June calendar.
so that would be air quality permit, water permit, what else?
Well, that's different. That's different departments. I think the hardest one for them to get is the air permit. It is, you know, it's not totally difficult, but it could take a little while. And a lot depends on whether the governor is saying, hey, speed this up. I want that air permit out in 40 days. Whereupon I suppose the director say we're going to have a public meeting, and expect because the people in the neighborhood are demanding a public meeting, requested a public meeting. They requested it in writing. They have a notarized request, whatever, you know. So I mean that request could be put in. That request could be put in next week. That way you'll know more faster than what the commissioners pass out, and the commissioners don't understand the ins and outs of air permitting, but you guys soon will.
Can you repeat the name of the agency to contact that would be dealing with the air pollution permit?
See if Troy tells the name. Troy, you have to unmute. Is it the Kentucky DEP or the Kentucky DEQ or?
Sure, Gary. I've never been to Kentucky before, so.
Can't hardly hear you, Troy.
Can you hear me
Now, you
now?
can type it in the chat. Troy, we're having trouble hearing you.
Yeah,
Uh,
anybody in the
you can-
room can ask their phone who issues air permits in Kentucky.
I don't hear. Troy, if you can hear me, can you and I go meet with these people? And maybe Max can go with us?
Can you hear me now, Gary?
Yeah,
There he is.
I can hear you sort of. I'm flying I'm flying to the 50th state for the next 2 weeks, so I won't be able to join you. I might be able to help facilitate that you get the meeting. You know, if you're located next to the biggest hyperscaler in the state of Kentucky, some people are going to be willing to talk to you.
You see the chat box? You want to type in the name of the department, the agency? Wonderful.
Who issues air permits in Kentucky?
Kentucky Department of Environmental Resources, is that right?
Well, are those agencies named in that document, Gary, that I sent you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have that up. But and they changed their names, but I'm seeing Team Kentucky and the Energy and Environment Cabinet, and then there are people under that. And I guess they call themselves the Kentucky Department for Environmental Protection. And I'm on their website. Do I need an air permit? Yes. Registration, minor permits, conditional major permits, major Title V permits.
And again, no business.
They have a permit review branch. They're down under the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet.
Troy, do you have a person that you've worked with before that we could try to meet with, or do I just need to start at the top of that cabinet and work my way down?
Janet, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's the Kentucky Department of Air Quality, if I'm not mistaken. And no, I don't have any experience with the agency in Kentucky. My entire career has been working in Ohio, so I don't have any contacts.
So I have a little bit more. I'm active in the Air and Waste Management Association in 4 states, and the top air guy is on some of our calls. And his name is Mr. Kennedy, and I'm drawing a blank on his first name, but you can see a picture of him on our website, AWMA, and you can make a note of this. We have a nice, fairly new website, ECS. That stands for East Central Section. ECSAWMA.org. ECSAWMA.org. I've got a video there. We've got a picture of all of our officers, and when you click on the state of Kentucky, you'll see their chair, and he's the head of the air program there. As best I can tell, he's a very good guy. That's why I think he'll meet with you people. He's been around plenty long enough to know that some people don't like steel mills or foundries or coke ovens or data centers.
Okay, I found him. His name's Michael Kennedy.
That sure sounds right.
Okay.
Good guy, good Kentucky guy.
Well, I'll be calling him tomorrow.
Yeah. Feel free to use my name.
Oh, good. Thank you. All right. So let's say we meet with them. Then what other advice can you think of that might help us?
Well, you know, I sent you links to my search that repeats the things I've just said. I think your group has to decide whether you're going to be hostile to renewable or not. I saw one of your maps. I saw the overlays of solar. Theoretically, it could be wind, but it's probably going to be more solar. You know, good way to slow down a project is demand renewable energy equal to what they want to use. And it doesn't have to be in your county. It could be someplace else. But if you're going to fight renewable and fight data centers, then it's not clear what your environmental thought process is.
But it's just that choosing between food and energy, I guess it's kind of what it comes down to for us. We're a little bit worried about all of the land being covered in solar panels when there are other options like roofs and parking lots and right of ways and in between the railroad tracks. There's other options, but I know it's cheaper to go out and put it all on one farm than it is to have distributed. But we're also a little bit worried about nuclear. A company called GeneX, GEENIX, has already got a land option across the river from Spurlock, 800 acres between Ripley and Aberdeen, Ohio, and then also looking to acquire land in northern Lewis County, Kentucky, right across from the killing plant. So is there any advice on the nuclear part of it?
Well, the environmental community realizes that every source of energy and electricity has its downsides. On an overriding basis, I think the environmental community is fears climate change, CO2 emissions, hotter climate, more powerful hurricanes. They don't believe it's a hoax. I don't believe it's a hoax. I've been to some United Nations climate agreements and the 187 countries there represented, and they all are worried more about climate change than the typical person in Ohio and Kentucky. But it's probably real. And the environmental people are going to swallow hard and say, we'd rather have nuclear or small nuclear than anything that throws off CO2.
Question? No one has any questions for you?
And if a new entity could fluctuate their needs a little bit, then you could have solar and wind, some batteries, and they could ramp up and ramp down. But these data center people, they're not happy with 99% availability. They say they need 99.9 or 99.99, and if Kentucky Utilities said we can give you 99%, they'd say that's not good enough. We're going to have our own diesel generators. Sounds a little unreasonable, really, but that appears to be their current position.
Do
And
you have
all
any
that to
thoughts?
say, since wind and solar cannot do that by itself, that's where something that can ramp up and down, which used to be coal and can be natural gas, but in the future, it's no doubt going to be nuclear. I mean, if you can picture the year 2100, you can bet there's going to be a whole lot of nuclear in this country. We're not going to be doing everything with something that was invented in 1950.
What are your thoughts on a major natural gas pipeline? We're looking at 30 to 40-inch pipeline, and they're the dangers or the environmental issues. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I've never been opposed with natural gas pipelines. Historically, that was one of our cleanest fuel sources, especially compared to coal or anything else. And you can move it around. It in a sense consumes the off gases from drilling for oil. You drill for oil and you get all this natural gas, and I wouldn't want to see them flaring or burning that. I mean, I'd rather see them put in a pipeline, take it where it's needed. And of course, pipelines support more than just combustion processes. They support fertilizer manufacture, plastic manufacture, pharmaceuticals, the other things that use natural gas. They also support home heating. So I don't know. I'm an engineer. I don't oppose well-designed natural gas pipelines.
Okay, we don't know what we don't know. Okay, we don't know what to ask. So I think what we're going to do is take your advice and try to get in there next week and see Michael Kennedy and go from there, because we have got to keep all the state people. We got to bring them into the loop on what's happening here and hope that somebody up there cares, and then put some pressure on local government to do the right thing, to get these commitments, to get the community benefit agreement, to get those milestones you were talking about. So can we have you come back and join us again sometime? We have more questions, or I'll send you
Yeah, I
questions.
can. And I remember, that link I sent you, what neighbors can realistically demand. You can demand a binding renewable energy requirement. You can demand funding for grid upgrades. You can demand limits on the diesel generators, and you can demand annual public reporting. And eventually you're gonna be at a public meeting in front of the operator, or whatever the right word is for Meta and those. Eventually, they'll be reaching out. This cannot just be secret, secret, secret forever. And you can make your demands. And in a democracy, if elected officials somehow manage to not pay attention to your demands, usually litigation takes place, and or they get voted out, and maybe they don't care if they get voted out, but most politicians would like to stay for a while.
Well, it's a long time until November when that happens. We vote them out, but we were just looking for some ways to have some roadblocks to slow things down, and maybe the environmental cabinet is the way to do that. Okay, well, we don't have any questions.
It's very appropriate that you talk to the top air guy. Now he might assign you the number 2 or number 3 person, and that's okay.
I'm going to throw your name around.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let you get back to your supper if you haven't started it yet. And
Yeah,
and I'll
keep
be
in touch with
Troy's here.
Troy's a darn good environmental guy too, so feel free to bounce ideas off of him.
Oh, I know where he lives. Yes, I will be working with Troy.
Go easy on me, Janet.
You're going to help me, Troy?
I'll help you. I help y'all can.
Ah. Oh, good. Well, I've got Goldie on my side. So happy wife, happy life, right?
That's right.
All
One
right.
thing
Well,
you can continue to study is what makes for the world's quietest data center. And as you familiarize yourself with the ways of measuring it and what limits have been put on people, I think that would be fun for you to research and develop some expertise in. Because maybe if they do build this, maybe it'll be the quietest one in the world.
this cheerleader, if they do all the right things, and we could be the example for the world. That Mason County could be the ideal example of a community accepting a data center and a data center doing all the right things and being a good partner. But the
Yes.
secrecy continues. And the secrecy is what really makes us not want to go along with it. Because
That's going to hurt them. I think I saw, you'll run across this too, but in Texas, Louisiana, or someplace, the federal district court slowed down a project, mostly on the secrecy issues. The judge is being asked, hey, they just, I mean, this is so undemocratic and so secretive. We don't see how it could be approved while everything's still in a secret. And the judge is going to think about whether he'll put a stay on that project.
We'll start next week with Mr. Kennedy. Anything you come across, you got my email. You can send me
All right.
updates.
Best
Thank
wishes.
you.
See
All
you.
right. We'll see y'all
Bye.
later. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.